Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm sharing more healthy dinner recipes with you. These ones are gonna be super quick and easy. We are in the middle of planting season here. My husband's a farmer, so we are just super busy. So these are really quick, easy meals, but also very healthy that your whole family is going to love. So let's go ahead and get started. For this first dinner, I'm making some meatballs with marinara sauce. This one was absolutely delicious. My kids always love meatballs. This is a go-to for us. I'm just starting off with a drizzle of olive oil, and then I've got about half of an onion that I diced up really finely, and I'm just gonna cook that up until my onions are nice and soft. So into a large mixing bowl, I'm just adding in 1 pound of some lean ground beef, and then I'm adding in those onions that I had cooked up, or you can use like a minced dried onion if you want to. I'm adding in 1 egg. I did about half a cup of shredded up parmesan, or you can use grated if you want to. I did half a cup of some breadcrumbs, and then I did a couple cloves of minced garlic with my garlic press here. Did about half a teaspoon of some salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and then I did half teaspoon of onion powder as well as the garlic powder. Then I'm just mixing all of this together. You can use a fork if you want to, or go ahead and just use your hands. And now it is time to actually roll out all of the meatballs. So I'm just spraying a large sheet pan with some avocado oil, and then I'm taking my cookie dough scooper and scooping them all out into the little balls. Now obviously we still need to roll them out, but this speeds up the process, and it also makes them a good uniform size. Otherwise I feel like you're just guesstimating on how much to put in each little ball, but doing it this way is way more efficient time-wise too, and it's just way easier. So I definitely recommend this method. I just throw these into a 400-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Just make sure that they are all the way cooked through. And once the meatballs are actually cooked through, that is when I'm going to top them with some marinara sauce. I had some leftover Rayos in the fridge to use up, and then I'm also using some of the Kirkland organic brand marinara sauce. I really like both of these marinara sauces. I would definitely recommend either of them if you have a Costco membership. I just topped mine with some parmesan and some parsley, and this was such a delicious dinner. This next dinner is a favorite for our whole entire family, but I'm going to be making some egg roll in a bowl. My kids love this one, so I make it all the time. I'm just starting off by grating up some carrots. I love this little handheld grater thing. It is so good. It's called a rotary grater. I will link the one that I have down below on Amazon. I think it was like right around $25, and I use this thing all the time for cheese, for vegetables. Use it all the time. Highly recommend it. So I just grated about 1.5 cups of carrots. And then I'm taking this whole head of purple cabbage. You can use purple, or you can just use the regular cabbage as well. Totally personal preference, but I'm just chopping all of this up. You can grate it if you want to, but I just find that it's easier to go ahead and just chop it with a knife. And I'm just rough chopping it. It is not super tiny pieces or anything like that. The size is really just personal preference for this recipe. Just go ahead and chop up or shred a cabbage. This recipe is absolutely chock full of vegetables, and my kids go nuts for it. They love it every single time, so I love making this one. I'm just starting off with 1 pound of some lean ground beef, and I'm adding in a whole onion and cooking all of this together. Just cook this until your onions are translucent and your ground beef is cooked through. You can also use pork for this recipe if you want. It's just, again, personal preference, or you could use turkey if you want to. I do like to add a little bit of salt and pepper to mine while it's cooking. Once the meat has browned, I'm just adding in the grated carrots, some minced garlic, and then about 1/4 teaspoon of some ground ginger. You can also use fresh if you want to, but I usually just have this on hand, and I don't usually keep fresh on hand. So I'm cooking this up for just a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to add in my soy sauce, my chicken broth, my rice vinegar, salt and pepper, and any other seasonings that you feel like adding. I'm going to have the full recipe linked down below that I follow. I will say I do tweak the measurements of the carrots, and I tend to add a little bit more cabbage as well, but other than that, the measurements are dead on. This recipe is so good, you guys. You've got to give this one a try. But now it is time to add in all of the cabbage. So like I said, you're going to add in a whole head of cabbage, or basically as much as you can fit into this skillet. Mix it all together, throw a lid on there, and cook it for about 12 to 15 minutes on low. You basically just want to steam your cabbage until it's to the softness that you desire. And then once it's done, I like to add on a drizzle of sesame oil. I think I do slightly less than the recipe calls for. You can add salt or any extra soy sauce that you want, and then you're just going to serve this over rice or over cauliflower rice, or I'm trying to be a little bit more on the low carb side, so I just ate it plain and it was so good. You guys definitely give this one a shot. For this next dinner, I am making a really quick sausage and veggie pasta, and this is just going to be like a healthier alternative. I am using pork sausage, so if you want to make it even healthier, go for beef or ground turkey. Just use whatever you have on hand or whatever you prefer, but I'm just cooking that up. Once it was about halfway cooked, I added in 1 onion, 1 chopped pepper, and then probably about 1.5 cups of some fresh mushrooms, and I'm just going to cook this in with the pork. Once my meat had cooked, I'm just adding in my Rao's marinara sauce, which this is one of our favorites. I also really like the Kirkland organic one. It's delicious. Both of them are full of flavor and they have really clean ingredients. Just add as much as you want, measure with your heart. And then I have 2 pots here. One is just going to be regular spaghetti noodles for my family because that's what they prefer, and then into the back pot I am using some Bonza rotini noodles. I picked mine up at Costco for a really good price, but this is a chickpea pasta, so it's just way higher in protein, a little bit lower in carbs, and I just serve this with the pasta sauce. You can add parmesan if you want, but this is just a nice healthy alternative. For this next dinner, I'm making some buffalo chicken bowls, and these were definitely a really easy option and a great way to sneak in some extra vegetables. So I'm just starting off with a drizzle of olive oil, and then I'm adding in some chicken breast that I had just cut up into about 1-inch pieces. I'm just seasoning that heavily with garlic powder, and then I also added in some Tony seasoning, which this is like a Cajun seasoning, but you don't have to add this if you don't want to. You could just do like garlic powder and salt and pepper, but I just cooked that until the chicken was fully cooked through, and then I have some chopped up lettuce here. I also made this like homemade coleslaw, but it was really light on the dressing, so it's basically just cabbage and grated carrots. I'm adding a little bit of rice to this, some cucumbers, tomatoes, avocado. Really, you can just add whatever you want for these bowls, but it's a great way to sneak in lots of veggies, get some nice protein with the chicken. And then I just drizzled on this Primal Kitchen buffalo sauce. Just be careful because it is pretty spicy. And then to make it a little bit healthier, I just did some plain Greek yogurt instead of sour cream on top, mixed all of this together, and it was so good. For this next dinner, I am making some pesto tomato chicken, and oh my goodness, you guys, this one was so good. I cannot wait to make this again. It was so full of flavor. So I'm just starting off by prepping all of my ingredients. I've got some really finely minced garlic here. You're going to want about 4 cloves of that, and then just set it aside. And then I've also got a whole block of whole milk mozzarella cheese and slice that up. Of course, you can use some fresh mozzarella if you have that on hand. And then I'm also going to show you how I make my favorite roasted broccoli in this recipe. So go ahead and have that on the side if you want. It's a great veggie to just pair with any sort of dinner. So I'm just cutting up a couple heads of broccoli, getting those prepped and washed. And then I'm also slicing up 1 tomato. And then for my chicken, I just chose to use 2 chicken breasts. I honestly was hesitant if we were going to like this recipe, so I only made 2 of them, but it was definitely my favorite of the week. So I totally recommend it, but I just pounded those out until they were nice and thin and even all over. And then I just salted those with some pink Himalayan salt. And then I'm just adding on the minced garlic. Just go ahead and sprinkle that right on top of the chicken. And I'm actually making 2 versions of chicken. So my husband does not like pesto, but I love pesto. So I added that to my chicken. And then onto my husband's chicken, I just did marinara sauce on his, kind of like you would a chicken parmesan. So that is what you see me adding here. But I cannot recommend the pesto basil enough, especially that Rao's brand one was so good, so flavorful. I absolutely loved it. Then you're going to add on a couple slices of tomato, and then just load that up with some mozzarella cheese. I'm sure you can use shredded here as well if you want to, but the recipe did call for sliced mozzarella, and it was absolutely delicious. I threw my chicken into a 400-degree oven for about 20 to 30 minutes, just depending on the thickness of your chicken. Just make sure it reaches 165 degrees. And now it is time to make that roasted broccoli. So I just had it soaking in cold water, and then I'm just spinning the broccoli out in my salad spinner and dumping that onto a baking sheet. This is just one of my smaller baking sheets. I'm adding on some olive oil and some seasonings here. All of this is just really going to measure with your heart. So olive oil, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, salt, pepper, and then just a little bit of chili powder. You can do as much as you want or as little as you want. I definitely like to add a lot of seasoning to this. It adds so much flavor, absolutely delicious, and it doesn't add any extra calories, but you just feel like you're eating something super delicious because it's so flavorful. And then you want to massage all of this in with your hands. I feel like it really coats the broccoli well this way. And then I add a little bit more salt on top, and then I throw this into a 400-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. And you guys, this dinner was phenomenal, so delicious. All right, you guys, that is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed all of these healthy dinner recipes. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and I will catch you all in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.